I want to dive right in and cover what I'm going to cover. So, as you see every month from me, I try and give realtors AI tools you can use, both teaching the basics of AI, but also really giving you some real specifics on some things that you can take action with using AI in your business. And so today I'm going to talk about 5 shortcuts that you can use to save yourself time using AI in your business. Those shortcuts are going to be image generation and specifically removing information from an image. So if you've got, the example I'm going to use today is if you've got a property that you want to show somebody that is a fixer-upper. And I found a beautiful fixer-upper, not so beautiful, that has a bunch of clutter, that has really, the seller's not going to do any work on it. The property is in poor condition and it needs a junk haul. But those are the pictures that are online. And so some people lack vision and some people have a hard time seeing through things that aren't the way you want them to be. So I'm going to show you how you can remove information from a picture. And I think it can be very valuable at times. Obviously, you got to be careful because you can't represent that that's what it looks like underneath, but you can give them a visual image of what something is going to look like. It is a good example of that is my wife and I have bought a couple of brand new homes over the years, and I can look at a floor plan layout and I can see it visually in my mind. My wife doesn't see it that way, and so she needs to see the pictures. And so this would be a great example that I actually hadn't thought of until this moment of helping somebody if there's just a sketch and say, hey, could you render this and give me an idea of what it would look like as far as what's where in pictures or in a video walkthrough. And AI can do some crazy things. Again, just be very careful. As you well know, in real estate, you've got to be careful not to represent that is what the property looks like, as much as it's just giving somebody a representation of what it could look like. And that's really, really clear, very important to make sure that you're covering that. So we're going to cover that. We're going to talk about and dive a little deeper into Canva. So if you use Canva at all, there is a phenomenal connection between ChatGPT and Canva that I've talked about in the past, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into it and remind you that that is a shortcut. It's a huge shortcut to creating editable content. So we're going to cover that. I'm going to talk briefly about analyzing videos. It's kind of a new feature in Google's Gemini that allows it to analyze video, and it does a really good job of analyzing video. And so I'll explain kind of how that works in a shortcut on some situations where you might be able to or want to use that feature in your business. I'm going to talk about creating infographics, which is going to tie into the 5th shortcut, which is editing or collaborating with AI on creating documents through something called a canvas. So those are the 5 shortcuts I'm going to show you today, and I expect to get through those in probably about a half hour. We'll have time for Q&A for those of you who are on here, and for those of you who are watching recorded, feel free to put comments into the YouTube channel chat, and I will get back to those as I can. All right, so let's dive in. The first thing is adding or removing images. So I'm going to share my screen, and yep, that's what I want right there. So you should be able to see my ChatGPT window. And hold on, let's fix that. Beautiful. Okay, so within that, so you're seeing ChatGPT. I will tell you, I believe ChatGPT right now is not the best place to do images. As a matter of fact, they're likely to update their image generation capability, but Google's Gemini far exceeds what ChatGPT can do right now with images. And it is through a feature called, create images right here, but it's actually called Nano Banana. So if you haven't heard that term before, Nano Banana came out a couple of months ago, and Nano Banana has been updated as of a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And now it's called Nano Banana Pro. It's even better than it used to be. And it was good, and now it's really good. And so what I want to give you is the example of how you can remove information from an image. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So I'm going to start with this example here. And so I took a picture of a house decorated for Christmas. And maybe you're like, hey, I've got a showing or I've got a property that I want to list. And the client called me after they decorated for Christmas. And I don't know that I want the pictures to show what it looks like being decorated for Christmas. And so I just simply said, hey, take this picture, remove all of the holiday decorations and make it look like it would the rest of the year. And this is literally what it came up with. And if you really studied the difference between the two pictures, it did a stunning job. I mean, a stunning job. It kept the photos in the back. It kept the chairs that are in there, the carpet, the flooring. Take a look, like literally 2 chairs, 2 photos. You've got one plantation shutter, but you can kind of see the second one right there. So there is a second plantation shutter back there, and the image generator figured that out. You got obviously this window here with the plantation shutter, and then a wall that juts out over here with what looks like a shelf, and the system covered all of those details. It picked up every bit of detail in that room, and it did exactly what I asked it to do. It removed 100% of the holiday decorations from this room. So remember, you're in a situation where you're trying to get something on the market for the holidays. I know we do professional images. I know that hopefully your photographer has the ability to do this, but no matter what, AI is doing an amazing job of helping us to make edits to images. Again, just make sure that you're checking with your legal department because technically you're representing something that wasn't what you took a picture of. And so you want to be really, really careful about that. But if you describe it properly, and maybe you're not putting it on MLS like this, but maybe you're showing it to one of your clients. And I'll use my next example. So I actually, if anybody hasn't started doing this, ChatGPT's integration to Zillow has some really unique functionality here. So what I did is I asked ChatGPT, find me all the properties under $500,000 in Sacramento that say they are a fixer or anything like that in the description. And so it pulled up the Zillow window. Now, before anybody starts giving me hate mail because, oh my gosh, Zillow and we're realtors and we don't like to use Zillow, your clients are using it. Your clients are using AI. Your clients are using Zillow built into ChatGPT. Use it to your advantage. And so here's an example where I just had it search for information in the property description. I open this up fully and it gives me a list of properties. And so I'm going to click on the property here. And this was a perfect property for me to use as an example. Because if you see in the images, and as a matter of fact, I think I can open it up more fully. Maybe I can't. I thought I could. Anyway, you can see through the images here. Y'all can see it in the corner. Like this property's falling apart. You got a lot of problems on the outside of the home. But what I love for the purpose of what I'm showing you is these pictures. Like this is literally the condition of the home right now. It's clearly a fixer. It clearly needs a lot of work. And maybe your buyer's like, I can't even see it. I can't see past all of the stuff. So you could, and I did, take those pictures and I downloaded them. And then I went here and I said, remove all the clutter. So I basically uploaded 6 of these pictures from this property. And I said, take these 6 pictures and remove all of the clutter. And so it generated this image for me. Okay. So I'm not sure what it did with the roof here on this one. But the fact is that or the ceiling, but it removed all of the clutter. So now, hey, I've got a little better picture of what that property is going to look like. You can get a little better feel. Okay. This is where the image generators have done a really, really good job. And then I said, now show me what this would look like with a cosmetic rehab with low budget updates. Okay, cool. I literally did this in the last hour. Okay, so it's not something that took me very long. It took me 10 seconds to type and ask it to run the information. And it gave me a decent breakdown of, hey, here's what you could do. Now, obviously the question becomes cost. And that's the next question for somebody is what's this going to cost? And so I thought I'd play with it. And I took a different property and I said, hey, let's take this property and let's update this to a modern kitchen. So again, found the property on Zillow, said, let's take this picture and update this to a modern kitchen. And the Nano Banana Pro, that version of Google Gemini, took that picture and turned it into a beautiful modern kitchen. I had no feedback. I provided it no information. Now I can make edits. I could say right here. So what I'll tell you as a trick is download the picture again and re-upload it. So I would download this guy just so because I've had more conversation with this particular chat. And so what I like to do is say, okay, I'm going to re-upload the image into my next chat so that it knows which image I'm referring to. While it's downloading, I have no idea why it's taking. There you go, now it's downloaded. All right, so I'm going to add that, upload that file back in here. And so that's this one right here. And I'm going to say, I don't like the gold light fixtures. Please use something like this. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use a horrible, gaudy example. Let's go with this one. Okay. And so I'm going to get a picture and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to print screen. I'm going to take a quick snapshot of this light fixture from Wayfair. I'll jump back over here and I'm going to paste that in there. And it will put the two together. Now, I don't think that's going to look very good either, but I'm giving you a silly example of the fact that you can literally be very specific now. It used to be hit and miss. It used to be you'd ask AI to make changes to an image. Now, I'm doing this live. It may prove me wrong, but I've been proven right many, many times, and very rarely does this steer me wrong. Sometimes you have to start over in a new chat window if you've been talking about too many other things. Okay, but we'll see where this goes in a minute. But I'll go now to say, okay, so now I told it, let's go all the way back up to the top. So I got the picture of the kitchen and I said, hey, what would it cost to do this? Give me a detailed breakdown, best you can do it, paying a general contractor to do the work. And it gave me its caveats. Hey, it's all about location and you got hidden costs of renovation. And oh, by the way, this picture shows a waterfall edge on the Quartz Peninsula. The stone continues all the way down to the side floor. It's a premium feature and it's pretty darn expensive. So I'm not sure if you want to do that. So it's actually giving me some indications. And now it broke down what it's going to do, all the different pieces of the scope of work. Now, I'm not in construction. I do construction renovation loans, but I'm not looking at cost of stuff. So I have no idea if this is accurate or not. But it's basically saying, hey, this kitchen remodel is going to cost between $28,000 and $47,000. Okay. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily trust this, but you can steer it and you can give it a little bit better feel. If you say, hey, that's on the high side, I think it should be a little bit closer to this. And you can, I don't ever accept anything that AI does as final. I'm always talking to it. I'm always giving my feedback and saying, no, no, change this, or I disagree with you on that. And so you want to make sure that you're thinking about it that way. All right. So this is, yeah. So here's what it did. I had uploaded multiple images here because I'd given it images of the bathroom as well. And so it's now thinking that when I asked it, hey, I don't like the gold light fixtures, use something like this, it actually thought I wanted all three. Now, I did put that chandelier in the kitchen, but it also put it in one of the bathrooms, and then it put some sconces in the other bathroom and removed the mirror. So this is where I'm saying some people get frustrated and say, yeah, John, there you go. That's why AI is horrible. Okay. My kids, I don't understand it. Like my kids are so anti-AI. They're high school age and like AI is horrible. And so anytime I show them something like this, they're like, see, AI is no good. Okay. Well, I think there's a way to use it, and I think that the most important point I'm trying to make here is when it doesn't give you the result you want, sometimes you have to start over with a clean slate. And in this case, it had knowledge of other pictures, and it assumed that I was asking it to add it to all of those pictures, even though I uploaded specifically this kitchen image, and I specifically said I don't like the gold fixtures, use something like this. It decided that I wanted it for all three, the two bathrooms and the kitchen. And so I'm not going to bother showing you the example, but I'm just going to tell you that you can see right here, it used that kitchen, it put that chandelier, it proved that's an ugly idea. Okay, I'm not an interior decorator, but even I can tell that that's not a good move. But the point is that you can add or merge things together. And so that's really my number one trick for saving time is making edits to pictures. and it's really, really good. This includes adding words, because if you tried making images that add words to it using AI, up until a few months ago, it's been horrible. Like you probably gave up. It is significantly improved with the Nano Banana update a few months ago. But this newest version Pro that came out last month, a couple weeks ago, is amazing. Like it not only does a great job in spelling, which I feel like, gosh, I shouldn't have to be proud that AI can spell. But unfortunately, when it comes to putting words and image inside of an image, AI's had a horrible time spelling. But now it can do a better job also of the nuances of particular style of writing that you want in there. So if you're taking a picture and you're trying to add words to the picture, Google Gemini, and specifically the Nano Banana Pro. This is well worth trying out. I am on the $20 a month plan with Google, so the Pro plan. It's worth every penny for me. You can get access to this without being on the Pro plan. You're just not going to have as many images that you can create, and you can get access to it for free. All right, that is the first thing that I wanted to talk about. The second shortcut, anybody who uses Canva. So if anybody creates images or creates flyers or anything like that through Canva, if you are not using the ChatGPT connection to Canva, you are missing out. What this is going to provide you is a significant shortcut in the starting point of creating something with Canva. So I'm going to use a really simple example, and I'm going to, so first of all, if you don't already have this, you're going to go in and you're going to add sources. So when you add sources, it's going to give you a choice of sources. So Canva is one of them, GitHub, Google Drive, and then you can connect more. So these are all of the apps that ChatGPT will integrate with. And so that's where you want to start. If you don't see it, if you don't see the Canva connector, then you're going to want to add it by adding connectors. Okay, once you do that, then it's just going to live right here. So let's get rid of sources. I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to go all the way down to more, and I'm going to add the Canva connector. So now it says Canva. Now I can say, I am hosting a event for my clients this Saturday from 10 to 1, and it is pictures with Santa, which I am, by the way. Please give me some ideas of social media posts to promote it. Okay, so because I did the Canva connector, if you had done this without the Canva connector, well, maybe it's going to do exactly what I don't want. All right, so I'm going to, this is why it's fun doing it live. All right, so let's let this finish really quickly. And I'm going to say, okay, come on, hurry up. What do I want Canva templates too? I can generate ready to post Canva graphics. Just tell me what style you want. Okay, so I'm going to say, great, I want festive and bold. So style number 2, please. Go for Canva templates. Okay, all right. So you are, now it should do what I want it to do. Are you going to do it? Are you going to prove me wrong? It's proven me wrong. All right, here's what it should do. And I'm going to, let's start over real quick. Let's go here, Canva, create a Canva template for a dinner party I am hosting for friends. Template for an invitation, to a dinner party I'm hosting for friends. Okay, let's see if it'll do a little more. This is what I expected. Okay, so again, with AI, if it doesn't give you what you want, start over. Now I could give it more details, but I should have said create a Canva template for the Pictures with Santa event that I'm doing, and so I wasn't asking it clear enough. So what it is doing right now is it is working on creating these templates. Unlike image creation, which says, okay, here's your image, which a lot of us have done. We've asked ChatGPT, hey, will you please create a flyer for me promoting an open house that I'm doing this weekend? And it creates the flyer. But if you don't like it, you've got to argue with AI to tell it to change something because it's in control. It's giving you a static, completed image. And so instead, what this is giving me is it's giving me 4 different choices. And so this is okay. So dinner party under the stars. Yeah, looks nice. But obviously I don't like the wording necessarily. But let's take a look at what the other ones say. Again, dinner party. Yeah. I kind of like this one. All right. So up here you've got a button that says open in Canva, and so I can click that button, and it will. Yep, because I used the wrong version of my Canva. I have 2 accounts. Good job, John. All right. Anyway, sorry for being. Hold on. Let's do this really quickly. Canva, log out. Come on, Canva, be my friend. And let's go here and log out. Thank you. And now log in using this one. And there I go. Now I'm in the correct version of Canva that is connected. And here's my image, but it's now fully editable in Canva. And so I can change anything I want. So I can put the date and I can change it from December 25th to December 15th. So it's literally taken what ChatGPT created as a sample image, and I can view all of these images, and the ones that I like, I simply click open in Canva. Now, I don't believe what ChatGPT gave us is the right final result, but what it's getting me is 80% of the way there. And now you use everything you'd normally use in Canva, and you'd use your elements and you'd put stuff in here and you would change the size and say, well, I want this to be bigger. And so let's make that bigger. I don't do much in Canva. So right here. Okay, so let's make that bigger. Okay, so you can change anything you want. So if you like using Canva, you say, I don't like using AI to create images or flyers or posters because it's never what I want, then use AI to create the template for you. Get you 80% of the way there. That's the key that I'm teaching you right now is the shortcut is if you use Canva, you should not start in Canva. Start in ChatGPT, tell it to create a Canva template for blank, and then whatever it creates, it's going to give you multiple choices. And you can also say, I don't like any of those. Make them more fun. And let's see what it does. Okay, so you can give it prompts, you can give it direction. And again, the idea is you are in control of making all of the final edits. So I'm not worried about it becoming the right version off the top. What I'm worried about is getting me to save some time by not having to do everything from scratch. So that is the big hack that I want to make sure that you guys understand today. All right. While I am waiting for this to finish, just to give you a rough idea of what that's going to look like, I'm going to talk about the third hack, the third shortcut, which is analyzing videos. Actually, I'll show you really quickly here. So I've got 4 different versions, and I can say, hey, I kind of like this one. And again, I can open in Canva, and I can make edits from there. So that is really helpful to save you time by allowing you to make Canva templates from scratch and have multiple choices directly created by AI. All right. So Google Gemini, again, I keep going back to Google Gemini. Google Gemini is really good. It'll create videos for you, but one of the things that it does that none of the other AI systems do anywhere near as well is it digests audio and it digests video really well, really, really well. My daughter was using it. We video recorded her shooting basketball, taking free throws, shooting in basketball. And we recorded about 20 minutes of her doing it. and uploaded it into Google Gemini. I'm not going to show you any of this. I'm just explaining kind of how it works. And it literally counted how many shots she made. It gave us the percentage of the shots that she made. It gave us some feedback on some of the things that it thinks she's doing right and wrong, which mirrored a lot of things that her coach is telling her. My point is, it's pretty accurate. It is not 100% accurate. AI never will be. But here's some things that I do with it. So with my client's permission, when you refer me a client, I record the audio of the conversation. Now, I don't use Gemini. I use a proprietary tool for it, but I have AI transcribe that conversation and then turn it into an email outline that I email back to the client. So they know what we talked about, and I tell them that it's coming. So I tell them, hey, I'm going to recap this conversation in an email. AI is going to cover it, so it's going to be about 80% correct. I'll scan over it to make sure that everything looks okay. But if something slides past me, understand it's not written by me, it's written by AI. And I actually make sure that I include that in there that, hey, this is the AI recap. So if something doesn't sound right, ask me about it. And so the ability to create video and pictures is growing, but the ability to digest audio and video is here. And it is, I think that some use cases of this do a video walkthrough of a home while you're talking about the home and then upload that video. Maybe you've got a client that, maybe you're doing it as a FaceTime call and you're walking them through the property. Well, you can record it so that you can actually give it to them later to watch over and over again, because the FaceTime call they only get once. And so they can't go back and look at the living room again. So as much as I like the idea, if you're helping a client out of town or that can't go to the property and you're going to do a FaceTime video with them, I might use two phones. And I might walk through with one phone being, and Linda, let me see what your question is here. Oh, Heather, I'm sorry, I missed your question. Is Add Connector option something that's only available in an upgraded version of ChatGPT? My understanding is it's available on the $20 plan, but it's not available on the free plan. If you've been on any of my calls before, you know that I have the $200 plan because I think it is well worth it. And so there's some times that I think something is widely available and it's not, but I am pretty sure Add Connector is for anybody on the $20 plan or up. Linda, you said, do I ask Gemini to analyze the video or use another command? I just say analyze the video. So I simply will say, I'll tell it what I'm trying to get out of it. So it's not just, hey, analyze this video. It is analyze this video to, in the case of my daughter's situation of basketball, to tell me how many shots she took versus how many baskets that she made, and what advice would you give her if you were her coach trying to help her to get better at her free throws. And so I'm being really clear about what I want you to analyze it for, because otherwise you're leaving it too open-ended. And so to kind of get back to what I was describing, if I was in your shoes and I had a client that was not able to go to a property and I wanted to do a FaceTime or Zoom call video walkthrough, I might have a second phone with me because I don't know that you can actually record at the same time that you are doing the FaceTime or the Zoom. I know you can record Zoom, so you could do that. But my point is, I'd find a way to record it as well. Because now I can take that recording and I can upload that video into Gemini. And I can say, analyze this walkthrough and annotate anything that we talked about of concern and provide a summary of everything that we discussed about what they liked and didn't like about this property. And then I might take it a step further and say, is there anything you can see in this video that we missed, that we didn't talk about or didn't cover, that you would tell the client if you were the realtor or that you were the consumer looking at buying this home? Now, I haven't tried this, but as these tools are becoming more robust, we have to keep pushing a little bit on what can it do. Let's give it a shot. Hey, that didn't work. No problem, but it's a great idea. Let's try it a different way. If it still doesn't work, let's try it in a few months, because the tools are changing so quickly and the pace of change is accelerating even more. You've got an arms race right now between the big AI players, and Google is winning. Okay, ChatGPT is scared right now, because Google went from being really, really bad at AI a year ago to being really the top downloaded app, and it is beating Google's Gemini is beating ChatGPT on the app stores for usage as far as new people that are signing up for it. And it's because Google makes a lot of money doing a lot of other things, and therefore they can spend that money in AI. ChatGPT doesn't make much money doing anything because all they do is AI. So they've done a great job, but they're actually going to work harder. And they already said it. There was a red alert memo that came out a couple of days ago from ChatGPT saying we're going to stop focusing on anything else because we can't let Google get ahead of us. And that memo was leaked. So my point is these tools have gotten crazy good. And the things that were scheduled for the future are going to be coming even faster because it's become a race between these companies to see who's going to come out on top. Okay. All right. Having said that, let's go back to diving in. I've got two more things. So we talked about analyzing video. So now I want to talk about infographics in Canvas. So I'm going to start first with Canvas. Now hold on. Can you guys see my screen still? Yeah, you should be able to. Can you still see my Gemini screen? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go first to ChatGPT. And I'm going to start a new chat. And what you're going to see, if you've never seen it before, is this little option called Canvas. What Canvas does is opens up in another window. Instead of being part of your chat, it takes what you're asking for and puts it into another window. So I'm going to use, I'm going to actually not do a Canvas, and I'm going to say, help me explain the process. Come on, Don. Of using a 203K loan to buy a home with the audience being the prospective home buyer. Okay, so you might ask AI, hey, help me do this. Like I've got a home buyer and it's a fixer upper, and I don't know how to explain this renovation loan to them. And so I want to just explain to them what the process is going to look like. And it talks through and it puts it all together and it does a great job of putting together these steps. But what if you disagree with a little bit of it? You've got to take this and you got to say, hey, please change step 1, bullet point number 2, or you have to say, oh man, I got to copy this now and go put this in a Word document so that I can edit this in a Word document. But instead, you just go down to your next chat and I say, and I could have done this the first time. I could have done this from the beginning, but I didn't because I wanted to show you the difference, is I'm going to turn on Canvas and I'm going to say, please put that into a Canvas. Okay, so what it's going to do, and again, I could have done that the first time. I didn't have to do it twice. I could have, when I asked the first question, I could have clicked the Canvas button right there, and it would have put this into a Canvas. Now you're looking at this saying, John, I don't understand what the difference is. Like literally, this is the same thing that you just created was here. But here's the difference. I can click edit, and it pops it out on a separate little window. Here's why that separate little window matters. Because I can make changes. I can click right here and I can just say how the FHA renovation loan. Because I didn't like the word 203K because I know my client doesn't understand the word 203K. A canvas is like a Word document. I can edit it and say, you know what? I want this on a new line. Matter of fact, I want you to skip a line. It's a word processor. It's like Google Docs. It's like Microsoft Word. So it lets me make changes on the fly. It lets me ask specific questions. So I can highlight this and I can ask ChatGPT about this. So instead of going into the chat and saying, hey, tell me more about what you meant by line number 1, bullet point number 3 above, I can just highlight right here and say, how can we say this in a more consumer-friendly way? and it knows what I'm talking about. So it's going back over here and it's saying, how can we say this in a more consumer friendly way? And it's making the edits right with me. Oh, cool. If you want me to soften any other parts, let me know. I've already done it. And so I can either talk to my partner, ChatGPT, and say, please make bullet point number 2 about shopping for homes more detailed about the process. Again, guys, I'm being super vague. I'm just giving you examples of how Canvas works. And so I'm saying, okay, this is what I want you to do, friend. And so it's saying, okay, I just highlighted bullet point number 2, and now I'm making it more detailed. And now it did its process. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't like this where it says identify them with strong potential. And so I want to make an edit right here, and I want to say identify homes with the most potential. Okay. So if you have never used Canvas, I hope this is blowing your mind, because a lot of things that we do with AI, you're basically asking a question, getting an answer, responding, getting a response. But the problem is if you're trying to tweak something, you can't, because you have to tell it, hey, go back and rewrite it and do something different. And in here, you can just rewrite right along with it. And so you can take that information and now you've got a completed product. Now you can take that completed product and I can copy this out and I can put this into a Word document. I can take this completed product and do something else with it. And I'm going to show you now what the something else is, which is infographics. So I did this in ChatGPT on purpose to show you how ChatGPT uses Canvas. But Google's Gemini uses Canvas better. So Google's Gemini, I'm going to take this and I'm going to take my finished product. So I'm going to say, here is an outline for buying a home with a rental loan. Please put this into a canvas so we can work on it together. Okay, so now I'm going to paste that same information. I'm going to go over here to tools just to make sure, because even though I told it to put it in a canvas, I want to make sure it really does. And so I'm actually going to click the canvas button. Same word canvas exists in ChatGPT as exists in Google Gemini. So we saw how to use it in ChatGPT. Now we're using the canvas in Google Gemini. And so I hope and expect that it's going to take what I just did and it's going to stick it into a canvas. So it is right now thinking, I'm going to show you an example. Actually, it did a really good job already. Okay, so very quickly, it's taking all of what I just did and it's putting it into Canvas. And you're like, John, wow, you already showed me that in ChatGPT. I don't understand what the point is. Why are you showing it in here? Because it's got this little blue button up here that says Create. And that's the game changer button, because I can use Create to create a web page with this information. Now, what are you going to do with that web page? You could use it in marketing and kind of as a flyer information. So let's give it a shot and let's see what it says. So I wanted to create a web page. In a minute, I'm going to show you some of the other things that you can do with it. An infographic is one of the big ones. So I started playing with this a little bit and using some of the guidelines for renovation loans that have changed in the last year. And I had it create an infographic. I did zero work on this. I'll show you the prompt of how I created this in a minute. But basically, it created a infographic. It created 2 of them. So it created the first, actually it created 3, but I didn't save the first one. The first one thought it was basically talking to me. And it said, using the renovation loan, a guide for loan originators. And I'm like, no, hold on, time out. I don't want this for loan originators. Please create this with the audience being real estate agents. And this is what it came up with. Sell more fixer-uppers. The 3 big wins for real estate agents: sell bigger projects, lower cash to close, save the deal. Unlock ugly inventory, manage your clients' expectations, and easier qualification for buyers. Sell homes that aren't move-in ready and overcome the double payment objection. That was a pretty good infographic that I spent almost no time creating. Now I said, shift that to the audience being buyers. And so I'm shifting that to the audience being buyers. And now what it is saying is that let's turn needs work into a dream home. Find the perfect neighborhood, but hate the kitchen. Update the updated FHA loan lets you renovate it. Why buyers are using this loan. And it basically walks through, and you can edit this. We can play with it. The idea is done. The idea is not let's build it perfectly the way that I want. There's tools that you can make this yourself. You can build these in Canva, but that takes a lot of time. I want some ideas of how I can get stuff done. The whole point of this video is shortcuts. It's shortcuts for you to get things done faster. So let's go back over here. And I told it to create a web page, and here it did. It created a web page for me. As a matter of fact, this is an interactive web page. So this created, I didn't ask it to, mind you. I just literally clicked the create button, and I said, create this as a web page. And it created it as a, hey, here's the purchase price. Here's my renovation budget, and here's what I'm looking at as far as the breakdown between the two. So as my renovation budget gets bigger, my total loan's going to be bigger. This is my estimated down payment. Isn't really talking about monthly payments, but it talks about the loan process. Ooh, this is nice. So it broke down all of those stages into get pre-approved, and then shop for homes, and then get contractors' bids, and then the appraisal, and then close the loan, and then renovation begins, and move in and enjoy. And so all of this, I've got the calculator, I've got a section for loan types, I've got the process, it created tabs for me. I did none of this work. You guys saw me create this on the fly, okay? Get your assessment. I don't know what this is gonna do. Looks like nothing, okay? Now, I can share this. So I can share this on social media. I've got a copy, I've copied the link, and so now that link is a Google Gemini link. And so I can take that link and I can send it to a client or embed it in a web page as a link. There's a million things I could do with this, and somebody could play with it. And it's interactive, and it's a toy, okay? But it allows you, and this, I might not do this because I'd be concerned about it giving the wrong information. It doesn't have any disclaimers on it, doesn't have any of my contact information. So, is this a final finished product? No. But could I then prompt it to make those changes? Absolutely. Okay, so now I'm going to go back out of here, and I'm going to close that, and I'm going to open it again. Is it going to give me the chance? Hold on. What do I want to do? I want to change it. I've never tried to do a new refresh it. Nope. Select and ask. No. Well, let's ask it. I now want to make this canvas into an infographic. Can you do that for me, please? So remember, when I created the canvas, I hit create, and it had like 5 different choices. Create an audio overview, make it an infographic, make it a web page, and I picked one. I've actually never tried to undo the one that I picked and do a different one. So we're learning this on the fly. I could definitely take the content of it and copy it to another chat if this didn't work for me. Okay, but this is an example of how I would go about using this. John, hi John. This is great. Can you get the replay? You can, if you don't make it in the beginning. I told everybody in the beginning this is going to be so valuable that anybody who didn't make it has to pay $50 to get the replay. And so I'll send you my Venmo, John, and you can pay the $50 to get the replay. Okay, next time be on time. I'm just kidding. It'll be on my YouTube channel. I'll send you the link. No problem at all. And if you guys watched it and you liked it, you can definitely rewatch it, share it with your friends, your colleagues, etc. So yes, John, we will absolutely send out the replay. All right. So let's see what this is doing. But guys, this is everything that I wanted to cover today. And I was going to give John a hard time and say, and I perfectly fit most of it in before he joined. But we have some extra time for questions. And so if anybody has any questions about anything I've talked about so far, any questions about anything I haven't talked about, we're going to stare at this Google Gemini screen and see if it will create the infographic. And it says it will. But anyway, my point is I want you guys to play with these tools. John.
John, this is Aruna.
Hey, Aruna.
It looks very good, but I wanted to know, is it embedded into the Gemini or is it a different app?
This is embedded into Gemini. So what I'm showing you right now is
Uh-huh.
embedded into Gemini. Now I pay $20 for the Gemini plan. So
Uh-huh.
I don't want to, I'm not sure if the Gemini plan, thank you, Linda. I'm not sure if the Gemini plan, the free plan, how much usage you get out of these things, Aruna.
Mhm.
But I know that you can use all of them even on the free plan.
Okay.
And what I'm using is the $20 a month plan. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. John, I wasn't sure, John Diaz, if you had any questions. Did you have a question?
I was just saying, you always, do you ever have any time to work? Because you're always learning this stuff, and and that's not all easy to learn.
It is not. I listen to a
You,
lot of podcasts. So when I'm driving, I'm listening to podcasts and I'm getting ideas from different podcasters, and that's really where I will periodically try something out. I will tell you if you haven't heard this hack before, I love Google Gemini for helping me get content out of a podcast. So what I mean by that, as a matter of fact, I did a lot of it right. Do, 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 do. Which one? Um, this one, I think. Yep. Okay. So I listened to a podcaster. I thought he did a really good job. And so basically, what I did here is I went to this, I went into Gemini and I pasted the YouTube link of the podcast. So I said, break down what is covered in this YouTube video. And it literally gave me a complete breakdown of what was included in the YouTube video, gave me timestamps of it, talked through all of it. I normally do this after I've listened to a podcast, so I know what that podcast was going to cover. And instead of saying break down what is covered, because I actually hadn't listened to this podcast, I would say, hey, I've already listened to this podcast. And I really, really liked what they taught me about or what they talked about as far as how to use Google Gemini to create infographics. Can you please listen to the podcast and give me a complete step-by-step breakdown of how to do what they described in that podcast? And it literally will create a complete step-by-step. You could take this YouTube video that I'm going to upload, what I'm doing right now, I'm going to upload to my YouTube channel. You can take that YouTube channel video, you can plug it into Gemini, and you can say, John King's amazing, and I want you to give me a breakdown of how he described using Canvas and what the pros and cons are of using Canvas and ChatGPT versus using Canvas in Gemini. And it will use what I described as the basis. And then you can say, now, go beyond what John talked about in his video. What didn't he say that I should know? Those are two of my favorite tricks for digesting information that comes from a podcast. And that's one of my hacks to how I keep up on all of this while still being a pretty well performing loan officer. Does that answer your question, John?
yeah, no kidding. That's awesome.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions from anybody who's watching live before I let you all get back to your day?
So all your previous videos, I just go to your channel on YouTube. You don't have to go back to that link that you to
That's
your
correct.
site.
Yeah, I have
Just go.
multiple YouTube channels. So I have a channel that's dedicated to my AI training. If you go to any of my channels on the homepage, it's got links to all of my other channels. But
Hmm.
I try and keep them segregated for that's purposeful. You don't want to cross pollinate too much on YouTube because then YouTube gets confused on who your audience is. And so that channel is dedicated to videos on AI. It's I don't even know what it's called. AI Edge training, I think, or AI Edge, something like that. But you can find it from any of my YouTube channels and just go to the home screen and it'll give you the link to all of my other channels. Sound good?
Cool. Thank you.
Beautiful. You're welcome. All right, guys, doesn't look like there's any other questions. Thank you to the 8 of you that showed up today, the 16 other people that said they were going to be here. Let's tell them how much great information they missed and make them feel bad for not being here. All right.
Thank
Hey,
you,
everybody,
John.
thanks for coming. Aruna, go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you, John.
You are very, very welcome. And to the point of what John was saying, I'll be clear. I love AI. I'm happy to teach it, but I don't get paid any money for doing this. I get paid for doing mortgages. So if you know somebody who needs a mortgage, the best way to say thank you is to send them over to me, and I'd really appreciate it. So
I
have a
sure
wonderful day, guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. And if I don't talk to you before then, have a Merry Christmas.